Good evening. It is Thursday. The Sick Podcast Anvil Show is back. You see my face. I'm back. Yeah, free agents frenzy all week. Things to talk about. Some deals have gotten done for the boys in blue, but then there are deals that haven't gotten done and holes to be filled and concerns to be had and maybe same old Ballard, same old this, same old that. We'll see. Before all that, Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Anvil Show.
Intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
He did. Like magic happened right there. Magic man. Yeah. I'm sorry, boys. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Do we still do DraftKings or shit or no?
We did last week.
Yeah, we did last week, so might as well do it this week.
Who are we presenting? Is it basketball time?
I mean, yeah, because they cover basketball, they do all that. So
Let's see if Sammy got a read for us, Sammy.
they said no need. Well, either way.
Oh, no read tonight?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, well then now let's officially start this thing. Okay, that is the
And before we start, I have not had dinner, so I'm going to be eating while we have the show.
First off, you
Y'all
cut
just
me while I was
excuse
talking.
my fat tail because I am hungry.
You are completely wrecking the show before you even start.
That's my job, sir.
Okay, as I was. That is the official sound of the Anvil. Please like, subscribe, follow, tell a friend. We are live right now on X, Facebook, and YouTube. And please, Pat, we do not want to see you crunch. Go to the dark screen if you're going to be
Oh, no.
chewing. And
Welcome to dinner, boys. Welcome to dinner.
oh, my God. Okay, well, if our free agency week hasn't already been a wild one, watching Pat eat and talk about free agency is going to be wilder. But yeah, man. So let's just get the major things out the way. We signed Alec Pierce. I think that was the first news. So to that, Christopher Ballard did not mess that up. Alex said the whole time his heart was in Indy. He honestly didn't feel he was going anywhere, so he just had to work the things out that they had to work out. Next, we were somewhat held at hostage, as you can say, for a few weeks going into the Daniel Jones contract, and finally that was signed yesterday. And I'm going to do that when it comes to that situation for many reasons. But first, we could just start with the money situation. So, Chris, you're usually our financial guy. You do those things in real life. Would you care to break down a contract and tell us why we should not fret, even though the number is quite asinine?
Yes. So the original report was 2 years, 88 million, with the potential to get all the way up to 100 million over that duration. It comes out to about $50 million per year.
Ugh.
But the biggest difference right now is that this year, for example, there's a signing bonus up front that absorbs almost half of that. So you have $44 million that's going to be paid on the signing bonus. You have, I think it's 5.49 that comes out along with some extra incentives for games. So really, the cap hit this year isn't quite as much as you would, like I said, as you would think, because like I said, we see 2 years, 88 million with potential for 100. You're automatically thinking, oh, he's getting 44 million this year, but it's not going to be 44 million necessarily against the cap, which is a great thing. So that means that there's still some wiggle room, which is the reason why, as of recent reports, the Colts currently have $50 million in cap space available right now.
Right now.
So yeah. So, but because of where the free agency pool is, you could probably spend all of that and have about 30 people that you sign in free agency because all the big name free agents are pretty much already gone. But
What's upset?
ultimately, it's a 2-year deal that's structured more so like a 1-year deal, and I think this is just because of the fact that they know that if Daniel gets hurt again, that you definitely don't have your guy. So maybe like having a 4-year deal, 5-year deal, it kind of screws you in the end, as opposed to having this deal where it's a 2-year deal that essentially has the opportunity to have void years added on for like a 3, 4, and 5, where you can just kind of break up how much the hit would be instead of it being where, if you were to get rid of him, let's just say at the end of this year, you would take some drastic pay cut or you would take some type of drastic cap hit. So
I got you. So a couple things with that too, because for me, they say the devil's in the details when it comes to the contracts, which what you just broke down, so people can kind of rest assured, like, oh my God, he didn't cripple our ability to go and improve this year. Maybe that's something else that's handling that. But the other side of that is the intangibles and the variables. And what I say that is, so you got to look at our situation in the sense of where our GM sits currently, where our coach sits currently, and this current quarterback. So the GM currently is on the last year of his contract. Then the coach still has technically 2 years after this, but we know most coaches, you can move off of that. And now you get Daniel Jones basically in a prove it, got all your money up front type thing. Are you the guy? Because I feel like these three are somewhat connected, and this year they have to win, or else new GM comes in, because there's no way you give Chris Ballard a brand new contract. That's what we've been talking about. Like, it's not about firing Chris Ballard. It's literally like letting him live out his last days, if you will. But there's no way he would, in my opinion, have an 8-9 season, 9-8 season, no division championship, no playoff berth, and get a brand new, here you go, Chris, contract. I don't see that happen. So I think that this Daniel Jones deal ties all of that together, because now it's these three guys are in the same basket, and it's this season. So maybe this is why, things have never been higher, if you will, what Carly said. But she opened the Birkin up. I give her that. She gave him $44 million in bonus money. So she opened her Birkin bag up and got that done. Now we can kind of look at how that potentially has affected what goes forward now, because we have this cap money in a softer free agency type year, meaning like not a lot of guys out there after that first wave, but there's still things that could be done. So this $50 million that's there, are you looking at that as go get this guy, go get this guy? Or are you looking at that as, is there a trade available to go get somebody and then you're going to automatically pay them right away, i.e. Jonathan Grenard?
Don't forget your draftees got to have a pool of money too.
Pat, that's about $10, bro. In all actuality.
Well, the other thing is that the point that Pat's making, especially with that, is you still have to have like a rookie reserve pool, right? But the thing is, now you actually save by not having a first round pick, because now the money that you would have to throw at a mid-round first round pick would be, let's just say somewhere around $4 to $5 million, whatever it may be. So, at that point, I don't think even if you do have your rookie reserve and do what you need to, and basically just still have money, like that money now needs to be absolutely for possibly a trade and sign or something like that. But the problem is that now you have a lot of players that have already gone. But right before we started, Jaquan Brisker got signed by Pittsburgh, 1 year, $5.5 million. So that you have a need now at safety. That you have a need at edge. That you have a need at linebacker. You have all these things that even if you were to address everything in the draft, you still need more players on top of that.
I think that's where we, as fans, are going to always be disappointed in how we view the roster versus what, the people who are building a roster view it, because the need for safety, if you will, showed in my opinion, to be very low because first our own guy, you know what I mean, he didn't get the deal that I thought he was going to get on the market, which was
I
probably a 3 to
know.
4 yard deal, 3 to 4
Mhm.
year deal, like averaging 10. He didn't get nowhere near that. And then you just
What,
have
7?
yeah, he got 7. And then you talk about Brisker, he just got a 5.5 million over 1 year. So that tells me, whether y'all want to hear this or not, that Wohler is a huge play in this, that they want to see him. And I feel like now he could probably be a tweener and be more practically put in his rightful position of safety. And then I think they will focus heavily on the front 7. I mean, because that's where he wanted to get younger and faster, right? So I would love to see a Jonathan Grenard move, not because, oh my God, go do something, but because once I did the research and I kind of really looked at it, I'm like, yeah, he might not be the name that everybody fell in love with, but he can play the run and he can pressure the ball. Last year, shoulder injury, so he only had like 3.5 sacks, but the prior 2 he had 12. And he's only 28 years old, you know, that type of thing, turning 29, I believe. So those things, you know, kind of matter. Trey's deal was insane. And it's not about counting dollars at this point, Chris, but 31 years old and you got a 4-year deal averaging 28. Now we can talk about what the rug was pulled out in front of us by the Ravens, because I feel like we were leading the charge in that. They said we were. That's all speculative, but they said we were leading the charge at one point. But I mean, Trey's, and I'm not trying to take shots because we didn't get them, but we're just being honest. We talked about it in space today. Trey's run defense is putrid. It is absolutely putrid. So if you're going to play $28 million for somebody to go sack the quarterback, yes, that's your primary focus, but that's a 3-down guy, and he's going to be terrible on rundowns. It's been that way.
Mhm.
It's been that way. That's not even me taking shots at him. It's just been that way. And that was kind of glaring. But when you have a need and you put yourself constantly in this state of we are so bad at something, we are forced to do something, i.e. the Daniel Jones contract, i.e. pay Trey fucking potentially $30 million per year, or whatever the hell it was going to be. Like, this is what the Colts keep putting themselves into. So you end up having to force yourself into decisions you don't want to make, but because there is no other option. Can you believe that? No other option but to give Daniel Jones $50 million per, despite the contract layout.
Look, I don't know why you guys are so surprised, and the rest of the people out there. I've been saying all off season, Daniel Jones holds the cards to this.
But he really didn't. He really did not.
Did.
No,
he got what he wanted, didn't he?
Sure, but
okay, then I'm right, and you're wrong.
You're not right.
I am wrong.
Like, no, you are wrong. Yeah. See how you did that? You are wrong. Yes.
But look, when you're sitting there, this team has no quarterback. They have no first-round picks for 2 years. I guarantee you that it was on the front of their head.
Fine.
We can get what we want.
That sounds great. I don't disagree. The problem is because your desperation forces your hand, like it honestly, I think kind of like blinds you to the truth. He had no real suitors, bro. You could say Minnesota, you could say whoever. He didn't have no real suitors, bro. So you don't transition tag him and then absolutely put yourself on the hook for that. What you do is say, okay, test the waters, Daniel. See you on Wednesday. That's what you do. Because you know what? Kyler Murray getting his 1-year deal. Now, of course, you know, that's a steal at that point because Arizona's paying his whole contract basically, and Minnesota's giving him pennies. But my point is, if it was up to those two and he's coming in healthy, no real like damage to his Achilles or anything crazy like Daniel has, I still think they pick Kyler Murray. That's just Clyde. So I don't think we had to transition tag him and then do all these hoops and loops and all this other shit, man. I would have told him go test the waters, bro.
Yeah,
you'll be all right. You'll be back. See you
and
Wednesday.
He could with that transition tag. He could absolutely still picked up other offers.
No, but I think the thing that's being missed here is the fact that it realistically, I think there was only going to be one team that was really going to do that, and I think they might have had. They might have just gone the route of saying, you know what, let's try this with Kyler Murray instead of, you know, going and seeing what else is out there or potentially going with JJ McCarthy. And that was the Minnesota Vikings. because we know that the Minnesota Vikings was where he came from. And then with him being as successful as he was, you knew the price was going to be the price. The thing about the transition tag is that anybody could have offered him another deal. Anybody who was going to be anything was going to do that. The only issue that you have with that is, once again, the QB market was not going to be anything good. I think we're going to see this year, you have a team like the Jets, for example. The Jets, if they aren't potentially taking for a quarterback, I'd be surprised. But then you also have, once again, Minnesota, where they said, you know what, we already got a lot of money tied up. If Kyler Murray had stayed in Arizona, then Minnesota probably would have matched. But they said, you know what, we got Kyler for 1 year. We got him on a vet minimum. You know what we're going to do? We're going to ride out with Kyler and see what we can do.
I don't even think Minnesota would have matched. Not the 37.8. Like, I feel like if we wouldn't have done anything, it's because that's what I'm talking about. I wouldn't have put a 37.8 on him. I would have said, go test free agency. Go away. I'll see you on Wednesday when you come back and realize, like, oh yeah, that door that you thought was knocking wasn't really knocking. Because no matter how I don't care about how he played. I don't care about none of that. If we just seen Max Crosby get DQ'd, right, physically, you got a ruptured Achilles, right? This ain't even like one of those mysteries. You got a ruptured Achilles. There's no way you're coming into this negotiation and you're sitting down and you feel like the ball is in your court. No. Fuck no.
I'm sorry, but injuries today aren't what they were 10 years ago.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. You're putting too much on his injury.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not, because we're not talking about a marquee quarterback who is always been, no matter what, the guy. No, this ain't Patrick Mahomes in free agency. This ain't Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. This is Daniel Jones. So that's what I'm telling you. Like, he at best is a mid-tier quarterback, right? He played out of his mind for 8 games last year, because the last 2 that he played, they were not great. But he played out of his mind for 8 games, maybe 7, because 8. We were 7-1, so 8-2 before he got hurt. I'll give him 8. Moral of the story is, you still don't hold the keys to any castle just because you had great eight great games. No, and you got an injury history prior, ACL, the neck thing. Now add fibula and Achilles. Ain't no way you walking in here thinking that you've run the shit because you're the quarterback. No. And if it's a team, like he said, like Chris said, if we know we're not in we are ready to win mode, so we just need a guy to be on the field, ain't no way I'm giving you that type of money. The only team that maybe kind of makes sense now, that's not the teams that we're talking about the Vikings, would be somebody like, let's say the Steelers came in late, because the Steelers are quietly putting together a more solid squad, right? And like, let's say suddenly they were like, okay, Aaron's going to retire. We got Will Howard, but maybe this team is better than, let's take a shot on Will Howard. Somebody like the Steelers might, creep in there late or something. But even still, they're not coming in with this type of number. We gave him the power, and it is what it is at this point. So we live and we learn. Hopefully it works out for the best and we never have to talk about it again. But if not, 2028, the next time we got a first rounder, or you get lucky next year in round 2 and find a guy, because I feel like there's going to be tons of quarterbacks next year too. So, but he'll be a round 2 guy. I mean, there's ways around it, but I just feel like that kind of soured things. But it was the work that had to be done. It's the work that had to be done. So we here, we there. We got $50 million now, but who do we give it to, Chris? Who do we give that to?
At this point, I think there's still some names out there. I think you can make a trade for Grenard. You can get Arnold Ebiketie. He was playing in Atlanta. That's another name. I think at this point,
Joey
you
Bosa.
need to have somebody who can be a starter. Even if, let's just say, if you decide to go linebacker first in the draft next year and with the second overall pick, you should want to pair him with Bobby. You should want to pair him with Bobby Okereke, because he's going to.
Who are we talking about? A linebacker?
Yeah.
If you draft linebacker round 2, okay, yeah, for sure.
Because right now you have Alubi, you have Austin I don't want to butcher his name. It's Austin A. So we're just gonna say that what it is. And then we have somebody that I've never heard of who's more than likely just a practice squad body.
Yeah, Carly's.
But then and you do have Carly's, but once again, is for what you're looking to do or what you can potentially do, we're depending on guys like Carlisle hasn't seen the field since the 2024 season.
Yeah, that's true.
And then on top of that, okay, do we depend on Waller? Because Waller didn't see the field all of 2025. And if I'm being absolutely 100% real, we're putting a lot of hope in guys that haven't been on the field, as opposed to having a veteran that for a fact you can come in and have immediately, and then just bring those guys up behind them, just so that this way you can make sure that they're going to be up to speed. Because now what we're doing is we're doing the same thing that we did for the last few years, where we're hoping on people that have been oft injured, and yet we are saying, no, they're going to absolutely be dogs when they get in, and then they end up not playing. And then you're back to square one trying to figure out, like, I want to break this habit of continuously hoping on people who haven't shown enough for us to give them the benefit of the doubt that they will come in and be difference makers.
Yeah, I feel like too. I mean, somebody who, and I hate to. So Chris has said, and he said it very passionately, because the way he feels about the team and the organization, he will not, kind of hamstring this place by making wrong moves, and then he's on the next thing smoking out of here. So with that said, there's respect. But at the other side of that, somebody who knew this had to be a year where you had to get shit done, there are risks that I feel like people would not hold his feet to the fire if they didn't work out based on the situation, right? Like, now, again, I don't feel like the Trey Hendrickson move is one of those. But if you you can still set this franchise up by going to get a Devin Lloyd, whether or not you keep your job or not. So something like that, I would have loved to see. So there was other moves I felt that he could have made that would have been substantial for this team, both present and future, whether he's a part of it, that he just hasn't made. So now you have freed up this money from the Bernie deal. You got money from the Michael Pittman trade. You got money from the Z trade and all this other shit. And it's just like, now you're sitting here holding this amount of money, and it's like, well, we got to give it to somebody. And all we've seen is depth so far. Clemens, which I feel like when we talk in depth, because I feel like that's where the transition is now. When we're talking depth pieces, I also said, y'all have heard me say this, I wanted guys that have played significant football at a winning level to be my depth guy. No more of this like, oh, your RAS score was great in college. There's all this potential that you could reach. And like, no, give me actual footage and actual things that have proven that you have been, a solid performer. So with that, Clemens, what's the guy that we got out of
Michael
Green
Clemens?
Bay? Oh, no,
Michael Clemens,
Green Bay.
Colby Wooden.
Colby Wooden he's better than what a lot of people are looking at. Last year, he played great football. It might not have translated into a bunch of sacks and a whole bunch of TFLs and all that, but I mean, he's changing the outcome of plays. He's rushing the passer, getting him off his spot, having him throw in bad situations. He's muddying up backfields when it comes to run. So I like that kid. So I like that. I like Clemens. And I like Arden Key. But these guys are still not starters. But I think rotationally, I'm more comfortable than a Samson Ebicom after Achilles, Tyquan Lewis after several injuries, knees and everything else. Like, I'm more comfortable with the new depth core. We brought in Nandi, another huge person. I think Grove is at 314 and this guy's at 317. He's played on 3 Super Bowl teams. You know what I mean? He's not Aaron Donald or some crazy, nose tackle 3 technique or whatever, but he's going to muddy up the field. Like, I'm okay with these guys as depth pieces, but these can't be starters, right? And I don't think anybody would sit here and argue for these guys to be starters. But now that you're building the depth, it seems like we're always doing it backwards. Go get the guy first, then you get the depth. You know what I'm saying? Don't sign the depth piece right after you secure the bag with Alec Pierce. Like, what? Day one, Alec Pierce, Arden Key. Huh?
Yeah.
That's a shock, right?
And that's always, and I think that's that's been my hang up more often than not, because of the fact that we always are preaching depth. It's always depth, always talking about depth. But the problem is
How deep is the
we're always
water?
talking about depth, but we're always wondering who the starters are going to be, because
Yeah.
we like you're building. Like, I get building from the ground up, but the thing is, you have to have some type of solid foundation before you go into this. And the thing is, more often than not, it's this philosophy that you always want to find a diamond in the rough before you actually go and get the diamond that's directly in front of you, that looks like a diamond, shines like a diamond, and is as tough as a diamond. So I mean, as far as it goes, I don't see why there's this thing where we have to be this team that always has to speak to trying to have this team that has to get it out the mud. But we don't have to get it out the mud. You just have to stop picking guys out of it. Like, it's weird.
So Pat, I got a question. Are you done? Are you done milling it? You finished? Okay. So here's a question that I want you to kind of think about. Because one thing that I noticed in the Chris Ballard era, no matter who's been coaching certain sides of the ball, offense or defense, scheme fit seems to always be more pertinent than the player just skill set. So in that, do you agree that always has to match? Like, you always got to get the guy for your scheme, or is there just sometimes a free agent, no matter what his skill set is, it can weigh more than saying, oh, well, he was a perennial 3-4 guy versus a 4-3 guy type thing? Like, does that matter? Because I feel like Chris Ballard locks in on that too much.
It absolutely matters. And I'll give you one example, and we all know him. We all love him. We all wish he was back. Darius Leonard.
Okay.
Killed for us under Eberflus.
Okay.
Went flat under Gus. He could not make the adjustments to Gus's scheme.
But do you think that relied heavily on his injury, though? Like, he was, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I think it definitely played a big part. His injury played a big part in his lack of production. But man, to see the guy just sit and watch somebody go by and like be a deer in the headlights, that's not the maniac that we knew.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like,
and that wasn't injury. That was just being out of place, and the play ran by him, and he was like, holy shit, what happened?
I mean, there were those plays, but I mean, a 4-3, where's a cover 2 look and a 4-3 cover 3 look, or 4-2-5 with a cover 3. Like, I feel like Darius Leonard, when he admitted, and I give him his flowers for that. He admitted, like, look, I had no power in my lower, but like my calf was not firing. I feel like that's more of a red flag than, oh, this guy just doesn't fit here, because he no longer had that read and react ability. He looked heavy footed. He was, playing way over his central body. Like usually a linebacker, you want to be good and focus equal feet. You know what I mean? But he was always heavy up front, because it's like, damn, like I can't turn anymore.
But I think
hold on, let me finish real quick, Chris.
Go ahead.
In the free agency cycle, your GMs, every GM is going to be heavily dependent on what the coach wants and sees out there. The coach is going to go to the GM and say, hey, so-and-so is coming up contract. Keep an eye on him because he fits me really well. I would love to get him here. Hey, keep an eye on this guy because he fits our scheme very, very well. I think we can do something great with him. And those in free agencies, those are the ones that your GMs are going to go after. Now, they know these players, but the coaches know their play better than the GM, because the GM and the scouts are more about college. So in free agency, expect a lot of this to come from coaches, not just, hey, I think that guy's a big name. Let's get him in here. No. The free agency cycle is heavily coaches' suggestions to your GM.
All right, look, Pat is giving Chris Ballard Saving grace, all you
I've
bald
given
heads.
all GMs the saving grace on this one. But
you know
that's the only way I could answer your question. Because I really don't think the majority of the decision making in free agency is just on Chris. I think the majority of it comes from your coaches, all your coaching staff.
Okay.
Okay. So, well, two things. So, first, what we saw with Maniac is kind of what we saw happen with Z, but it wasn't
Absolutely.
injury related because you got to remember under Eberflus, Maniac he was able to kind of roam the field a little bit more. He can go and do what it was like. There was a little bit more freedom with Gus
There was a
Bradley.
lot more freedom.
with-
He could actually read the offense and put himself where he needed to be. Under Gus said, "No,
Yeah,
you be here.
it was
I called this
just
play,
standing
you
where
need
it
to
was.
be here."
Yeah, it was just staying in place, reacting accordingly. Like we all know what Gus Bradley's defense was, and then also
Shit.
coming off of an injury that didn't help. But then we saw that Z played perfectly in the Gus Bradley system because it allowed him to amass all those tackles because basically you just had all the action coming your way, and all you got to do is just go and either make a tackle or get your hands in so that you can get yourself a half a tackle. Like that's just what we knew it was. But then when you go over to Lou's system, he actually had to read and react and move around, and that didn't work well for him. Hence the reason why he's no longer here. But but the thing is, kind of to your point, Pat. Well, I'm gonna say maybe to counter it a little bit, we're not looking at these teams like where you say, okay, well, maybe it's up to the coaches, up to the coaching staff. We've had different OCs. We've had different DCs. We've had different head coaches. The drafting has stayed the same no matter what. So at what point are we sitting here talking about the fact that, and I'm not trying to absolve any coaches from anything, but what we do need to understand is that we've seen guys drafted similarly and it go through a similar process. And these guys, it's just like they have the athletic score. They have all these things. They were athletes. They might have been converts from another sport. They had 2,000 hours of community service. That's literally all those things that you have to be in the draft process. And then these are the guys that we've had. And this isn't just a one-time thing. This is what we've seen for the last 10 years. At some point or another, we have to just say that no matter who the coordinators are, no matter who the coaches are, Ballard drafts his guys the way that he likes them. And generally, you're going to get a lot more of the same more often than not.
Yeah, I feel like, and he talked about this. There has been a philosophy that he has followed, and there came a time where he had to adjust that, and maybe that was as recent as last offseason, when he, kind of going out and day one actions, and then the big trade mid-season, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, he has attested to the fact that he has had a philosophy and a way of doing things, and it has not been successful. But to that point, I mean, I think sometimes old habits are very hard to break. And so my thing is, no, you don't always run out and go buy everything that you see on the shelf, right? That's not the way to get it done.
No.
But a lot of times there's situations where the player is going to be better than trying to outweigh, well, does he really work here? Because when you're doing that, and then you look at the roster that you have, and you're like, well, these guys definitely don't work here, but because they cost me nothing, I'm okay with it. Like, that's, to me, that's not a good trade-off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to go get a guy and say, look, you have been an all-pro this, or you've been a pro bowler or whatever. Now go out there and I'm going to help you adapt, and you do your part. I'll do mine as the coaching staff, and we'll get this shit done. Because I feel like there's a lot of that we overlook all the time, because we're always trying to marry our players to the system. Like, I mean, but what is the system? The system is meant to be, in my opinion, tested and changed, and always being kind of like altered to be better. So the players have to go out there and play. But if you just, saying, well, my system is this, and this, that's Gus Bradley era. This is what I need this guy to do, and only this. That's why you go get, an Ndakwe. He gets you 9.5 sacks, but then you don't bring him back. Why? Because damn, he really can't do anything else. He really couldn't do anything else. And that was just crazy. Like the guy that's had the most sacks for us individually, you know what I mean, in the last 5-6 years, he had that year. He did exactly what we paid him to do, and you couldn't even bring him back because he was that bad in run defense. Like, it's just funny how that shit works out. You know what I mean? I think Trey was going to be more of the same because A, he's a little bit older, but B, like nobody's really even focused on Trey stopping the run because he's been such a great pass rusher. You know what I mean? But when you kind of look at the complete package and think about this is what I'm paying, I think I want a little bit more. I think I want a Max Crosby who's going to get downhill and stop the run and still be able to generate pressure. You know what I mean? If I got to play premium dollars, now if I'm not paying premium dollars, then okay, maybe I can rotationally fix that. But if I'm paying premium dollars, you're not coming off the field because it's a rundown. No, sir. Not for $29 million. No, you're going to be there. You can't do that. You can't do it. So yeah, man, there's logical things that I feel like goes behind that. And of course, we just asking questions. We don't know the ins and outs of none of this, so it's just fun to talk about. But I mean, thinking about how we're trying to construct a roster, I can't say that it's done day 4, but I think that fans every year we have gotten accustomed to not signing the guys that would make us as fans feel happy. But the problem with that, because I want to make sure we cover both sides, is then there's those teams that do that, and then you like, whoa, I'm glad we dodged that bullet. Because the one that comes to mind most frequently, and it was just not that long ago, was L'Jarius Sneed. When we didn't get him and he landed in Tennessee, the fan base went fucking nuclear. They were pissed. I remember that. I remember people being on fire about, oh my God, look what. And then L'Jarius Sneed has been a snooze fest over there. Been injured, hasn't played great, and everybody like, ooh, we dodged that bullet. But it's like we wanted, like, I remember, I forget who was covering it, but one of the people, remember, they like, oh yeah, it's my sources tell me the deal is almost done and everything. Like, and then when that blew up in that guy's face, like they roasted his ass. Like, what the fuck? Like, dude. And now
even some of the players were coming out roasting.
Yeah, bro. I forget who was that. No, it wasn't Destin. I can't remember who it was. I ain't trying to, put him on the spot again. But he came out and even made an apology on Twitter about it. You know what I mean? He's like, look, I thought it was this. And the moral of the story is, then we were laughing at Titans fans that same season. Like, damn, y'all paid this dude all this money. He sucks.
And the bad thing is, that's the first year Chris came here, went training camp with me. And you was in Qatar, so Chris stepped in for you. And after that interview at training camp, we even talked about Sneed. And Chris turns around, looks at us, and says, there's a reason he's still not signed. And then it was a few days after that, Tennessee signs him.
Yeah. And I mean, then the dude did not live up to the dollar amount. Did they cut him yet? Did he get cut?
No, he's still on there. They went and got Alontae Taylor and Cordell Flott from New York.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, because it's those situations too. And I guess that's just the world that we live in. You're not going to hit on everything, but at the same time, you want your guys to be active, talking about your front office. And then when they are and they miss, because we've seen that too. Go back to the Grixon era. My God, DeQuell Jackson. What was the edge rusher we had? Oh, who did he sign? You just talked about him the other day, Chris.
Justin Houston?
Dude. No, not Justin Houston. He came out of Philly.
Oh, Trent Cole?
Trent Cole. Trent Cole. Like, it was just a random mosh pit of randomness. And you'd be like, man, we spent all this money. You'd be like, yeah, but DeQuell Jackson was the guy that we were excited about. What? Like, so we've seen it not go our way as well. So I don't know where that happy medium is, but I feel like you always want to be somewhat of a player in free agency. I look at the Carolina Panthers, man. You get Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd. And if that's all we did, well, of course you had to figure out Alec Pierce. But even if we didn't do Daniel Jones, even if we didn't get that done, if we would have got Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips and Alec Pierce, let's go to the draft tonight. See you there in Pittsburgh. I'd have been super excited. So it's just like, there's guys that would have worked here. Again, but when you have your heart set on other things, I guess you just got to deal with that, man. So I don't know, bro.
Yeah. But I don't like, And this is just where I am. I just feel like last year was the anomaly of what we've seen from this regime, right? Because it was the first time that we actually saw this team going out there and just kind of, asserting itself for over an extended period of time.
So you only get
And
that once, is what you're saying.
well, I
That was
mean,
the
it
anomaly.
it was the anomaly because I mean, what other time, did we look at this or have we seen a Colts team, come out and fire on all cylinders the way that they did in that fashion? And I mean, for all intents and purposes, we hadn't seen that since the Peyton era.
Right.
And
I agree.
I think this was the first time that this team has been competitive in a while. But like I said, I know that Chris knows how to move money around because I mean, we came in with 34 million. We signed Alec Pierce to a long-term deal. You signed Daniel Jones to the deal that he got, and now you have 50 million, which I mean, honestly, like it's impressive. But I just don't think that he truly knows how to build a competitive roster. I know that he knows how to find guys. I know he knows how to find guys who are athletic, who can do certain things, but I just don't think that he knows how to truly build a roster that is going to be able to go into anywhere, no matter who it is, and just be able to do what they need to do.
I think that one's hard for me. And I think that's hard for me because when you say he doesn't know how to build something, we're going to always compare that to what the outcome is. So yeah, well, where's the division titles? Where's the playoff appearances? So I'm not refuting that at all. You're absolutely right. But we constantly see GMs go out there and just do shit, and it's like he has a philosophy for how he wants to get it done. Does that equate to success on what we've seen? No. But I feel like Chris Ballard would be a GM that would get hired again, like by some other team. And that wouldn't be like, oh, well, they're stupid for hiring him. Look what he did in Indianapolis. I think sometimes, honestly, like shit just don't be working out, dog. Like last year, he could have completely rewrote himself if the team would have just won. If we didn't have crazy fucking bad luck, when we're sitting at 8-2 making the plays that we're making, as far as like going to get Sauce, bringing in Jermaine a few weeks before that, bringing in what was the cornerback that got hurt for us?
Ward.
No, not Ward. What was brought in Ward in offseason.
Hilton.
Yeah, Mike, like he was doing things that were saying, I'm addressing these as they come up. I have always neglected these in the past, but not this year. And if those bad luck things just don't, I mean, fuck, you trade for Sauce, bro. In his third game, he has a scary injury that could have been an Achilles too. Achilles for Daniel Jones. Like, bro, what the like? You can't even make this shit up. Mooney gets knocked out cold in fucking warmups, and then that's the one that really does him in as far as his concussions that year. Like, you can't make this shit up. Anthony Richardson gets hit in the face, with equipment, and he's on IR for a significant amount of time. Like, you just can't make this shit up because we all think that, you know what I mean, it's going to be his fault at the end of the day because he's the guy that's doing it. But dog, it's so many other.
No, it absolutely is. And the thing is, all those things are 100% unfortunate. But also, we know that the nature of the game is that you have to be able to build a team that makes sure that even if your star goes down, you have faith that the guy behind him will be able to at least carry the torch.
Yeah.
And once again, it's when you get to that point, then you're just like, okay, cool. The problem is that I think this year was like, because we loaded up last offseason with cornerback. We went secondary, and finally we're just like, dang, because we didn't truly get to see, Ward and Sauce together, which I 100% will give you that. But once again, this is something that has kind of always been an issue for us because no matter what we've seen in terms of what players we had out there, who was potentially on the roster, who the starters are, it's always going to be where if for some reason a player got hurt, we weren't too sure that we were going to have somebody behind them that was going to be able to deliver or was going to be able to be productive. We knew that they were going to be a guy that, they'd had some depth behind them. They'd have, they were somebody that was maybe like a third stringer or something along those lines, and that they found their way into the roster. But the problem is, more often than not, it wasn't productive. We saw that time and time again. And
I think
so
that's
the reason why.
I think that's that mystery place that you have to live in, because again, I don't know the monies that well, but I feel like there's always going to be a certain dollar amount that says you're no longer a backup, you're a starter. And to have quality pieces, behind your starters, one or two things have to happen. You got to get crazy lucky, i.e., you draft very well and guys play above, their potential, if you will, or you're in situations where you have a really solid team and you're able to make moves at times just to further that. This guy got cut. This guy looking for a trade. You bring him in. I don't mind paying him a little extra because you know what? I've seen him play, but he knows he's going to be, behind this guy. Like those are the things that you kind of have to work out. But when you're not a team that's in that, like in that type of light, like the Eagles have been in that type of light for the last couple of years. And they just do that all the time. Like, damn, no matter who gets cut, no matter who's talking about potentially getting traded, seemingly the Eagles going to be the team that makes something happen to go get that player. But that's because they were just putting together such a solid program, and like it's like plug and play. But if you're not that, you can't go out there and say, well, yeah, I got my backup corner is making $4.5 million a season. What? And he's a backup? like nah, man, he probably need. So it's like so you got to get lucky with these picks sometimes. That 4th round cornerback you took, he's playing out of his mind. Like he might have to be your depth piece. You know what I mean? And I don't know how the books work and all that other shit, so I won't pretend. But a lot of times at the end of the day, I always say it costs money to fucking make money. So if you want to win, it's gonna cost you money. I still like Les Snead. Fuck them picks. Because he hasn't fallen off the rails. We laughed at him when he made all those, gave all his ones up. They got their Super Bowl. And then they kind of was a tweener team, but they're right back up. Like they haven't sunk to the bottom. You know what I mean? They didn't win their Super Bowl and sink to the bottom. And now they're on a fucking 6-year climb to the top. Like you got to be aggressive, and you can't always think about next year and the year after that and the year after that. And I'm setting the franchise up. Like, yeah, you can be a little, reckless at times, you know what I mean? But I just don't feel like, that's him. He's conservative to the core, Chris. And that's his philosophy. So be it. But I mean, this is the last dance for sure, Pat. Do you agree to that? If this does not pan, because he has no more contract.
Honest to God, I'm surprised he kept his job this year.
You can't re-sign him if we have another 8-9, 9-8, no playoffs.
Yeah. And I told everybody before, I absolutely like Chris Ballard. I like how he does things, but I cannot defend his record. He cannot defend his record. Ain't nobody on this earth can defend that record.
Yeah.
So no, you're 100% right. What the question should be asked is, what is it going to take for him to keep his job? Super Bowl bust. What? I mean, you see what I'm saying? That's how hot that seat is right now.
It has to be, to me, it has to be something like Super Bowl. I think that's a long shot for us, but it would have to be something scary good. Like, damn, we went to the AFC Championship. It just didn't work out for us or something. And that might get you a smaller.
The refs got it. Yeah, it might.
It might get you a 3-year deal.
But that's to me, that's the better question right now, is what it's going to take to keep the job. But I mean, because I do think he's on his way out.
Even a division title, that doesn't do it.
No, because I don't think it does either.
1 in 10 years, and it's the last year, if you will, that can't get it done. Yeah, I mean, so it would have to be something miraculous. Like, damn, bro, we were Cinderella last year. And they wow, because I feel like the girls needed time to kind of learn the ways of being the forefront of the franchise, which that was last season. We could start saying, now again, this is their father, so of course it's not like out of their mind, but they have definitely transitioned from this is Jim's organization to ours. They have done those things. And now everybody's contract, honestly, that dad had something to do with outside of Shane Steichen is going to be up for renewal or just it's over with. So this is the perfect time going into the offseason of 2027, right? For them to say it's time to make our stamp on the team. We hired our first GM, who then hired their first coach if they don't want to go with Shane, who then had their first draft and maybe drafted their franchise quarterback and so on and so forth. And then that's where their legacy starts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's kind of the outlook we should have on that versus people having these takes like, oh, well, they should just fire people in the middle of the season if it's going wrong, because at least it will show that, they're running the organization. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You bring another distraction. You fire Chris Ballard in week 6 because we're 1-5. That's just another distraction, right? So now what? Got another season full of disappointment and distraction. And Ed Dodds is just there like, what am I doing?
It's just like, what am I here for?
What am I here for? Because I co-signed everything Chris did. So like, what am I going to do, right? Like, what am I going to do different? And I'm not going to be able to draft nobody, so you don't even see that.
It's like, what do you want me to do about it? It's just like, you should just ship me off with Morocco. Like, it's just like, what the heck?
Exactly.
I mean, I think what we're just gonna see is that if there is this urgency that we believe based on what they've told us, because we're not saying urgency because we just pulled the word out of the air. We're saying urgency because we said that there's never been a higher sense of urgency. Okay, so then where is the sense of urgency now? Because there was enough sense of urgency to increase the amount of cap space that you had available. And outside of the rookie reserve, because let's be honest, the rookie reserve is maybe, I'm being generous here, is maybe 20% of that.
Yeah,
So the thing is, even if you take away 20% of that 50 million, you got 40 million still. And there's still guys out there, so it's just like, where's the urgency in what it is that you're doing?
I say less, Chris, because like you said, we don't have a first round. Who's going to garner the most of that? You know what I mean? The bulk of that, I should say. So yeah, it might be less than that. Unless this is one of those seasons, because this season has the potential to start just like last year, and then we're anxious at the trade deadline and we make another play, or throughout the year we're picking up valuable guys who are just out there on the market or something like that. I can see that happening in a season where we're going to have the miraculous one. We're going to finish this time. We started 8-2. We're going to finish and win the division and make the playoffs. But this season has the potential to be a lame duck too, like a complete lame duck, where it's just like everything went shit. We already know this guy's getting fired. This coach is probably going along with him. All the things, you know what I mean? So I can see Shane Steichen getting fired with 2 years left on his deal in season versus Chris Ballard getting fired in season. I can see that happening.
But at that point, I mean, if that happens, I think it would be very, very hard to justify anything. It's really tough to believe that. It's just like you once again have another head coach that would be fired while this guy just kind of sits in the office being safe. I think at that point, then, maybe it's just like when you let Chris walk and you say, sayonara, it's been real, then you just go ahead and say, hey, Shane,
Yeah, see, I think it's the only reason why I take that take is because you're the guy talking to GM that hired the guy. So what I'm saying is it'd be random, in my opinion, for the owner to jump Chris Ballard or to fire Chris Ballard and keep the guy that Chris Ballard hired. I see them saying through Chris Ballard, fire your guy. And at the end of the year, you no longer have a contract anyway. So you're not even getting fired. We're not bringing you back type situation. That's how I see that. You know what I mean? So, because I think that, again, I don't want to speculate and put no crazy shit out here with 5 minutes left in the show, but she has been learning the game. I'll give her that. But she's no head coach. She's no offensive coordinator. She's none of those things. But what she is a person who understands how we've lost these games. So I think she can question play calling, though she's never called a play. I think she can question situational awareness and management, though she's never had, a headset in the sense of what should we do here, Carly. So I think that she would have enough to be like, this is not a coach that I want to go forward with. Right. So when I bring in my new GM, he ain't got to worry about that guy. He ain't got to worry about firing him. That got done last year. And now I'm hiring you. Go out there and build your new regime. That's why I see it that way, because she's not the owner, just up there and don't know what's going on. Right. She might have been like, in a very simplistic way, like, was it smart to not run Jonathan Taylor right there? Was it? Why did we throw a pass there? She's right there in the midst of it. So we can't sit here and subject her to just being completely inept of what's going on around her, though she isn't an offensive coordinator. So that's the kind of reason why I said I feel like I could see Shane getting fired in season if shit went south, and then Chris just riding out the end of his contract and not being brought back. That's kind of how I see that. But anyway, let's get ready to close out. Great show. Hopefully next week we got good shit to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this can go on forever, unless Chris Ballard decides to just do everything that we said that he wouldn't. But before we do, and like I said, we didn't shout out the chat. We didn't shout out the chat. So sorry for that, guys. Apologize. But hey, shout out to Teresa, Derek, Septimo, Chris Dinkins, not me, but the other Chris, Kevin Van Loo, Tyler. We also got Stacy, Louise. We got Nathan. Also, there's a lot of names. I'm just going through. We got Shane, and we got the Shane that we like. So sorry about that.
Shane that we like is crazy.
We got Josh. He says we've paid and made moves this week, but have we gotten any better? Did we? No. So that's just a quick answer, so that we can go ahead and get to this, so that this way we'll be done in an hour. But anybody that I missed, like I said, thank you so much for tuning in. So let's also what's up to Colton and Clayton. So what's going on, y'all? But first and foremost, bring up the handles so you can find me on Twitter at CJ Colts fan. Where can they find y'all?
At Colts Clyde on X.
At Colts Forward on X.
Yes, they are both generally on X.
Wow.
So
what in the hell?
Yes, so just make sure, and then also you can see the I'm going to say the replays of these episodes the following Wednesday on Z103.com. You can download that app, or you can go online to Z103.com at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and also at Mix 105. So you'll be able to go ahead and hear the same stream or be able to rewatch the episode via YouTube too. And then also you can go on VIP One Lounge Extra. That's our homies in the UK. That's 5 o'clock UK time, which is 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, you can go to, please bring up Visit Indy for me. Yes, so you can scan that QR code. Visit Indy does a lot of great things. I know I believe they co-sponsored, or they had an event at the Combine. Super dope. So make sure that you scan that barcode, finding out everything that's going on in the Indianapolis area. They actually have included maps so that you'll be able to see exactly what's going on at different locations, what's going on with different events that they may have coming up. So you definitely want to make sure that you're using Visit Indy for everything that's going on in the Indianapolis area. And then also, please bring up youth football camps. Yes, and we are back again with youth football camps, exclusively covering them. So we'll be having live streams at the event, taking pictures of everything. We covered Josh Downs' camp last year. We covered Kenny's camp last year. And this year, we actually are going to be back with Josh Downs and Tyler Warren. So definitely make sure that you're going to youthfootballcamp.com. and make sure that you register for that event that's on May 17th, ages 5 through 17. This isn't just one of those, they have them throw the ball around for a little while, and then they come out and do a 5-minute, 10-minute appearance. No, they're on the field with the kids the whole entire time. It's super amazing because these kids get to go out there and have fun with the players that they've pretty much only ever seen on TV. So this is a great event. Make sure that you get registered for that as soon as possible, because once the slots fill in, they're done for. All right, so that's it.
Cialis guy. It didn't go as fast as last time, but great show, boys. Hopefully next week when we come back, we got more to talk about. We've made a move. Now it looks like that move needs to be some type of trade. Maybe something crazy is in play. Maybe Max Crosby is coming to Indy. Can't get 2 firsts no more. so I'm just kidding. I don't know. We got to look.
You never know.
What's the odds?
You never know.
I can see if Kalshi got something crazy for us. But anyway, anywho, thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, follow on all the things like we started with: Facebook, YouTube, X. Keep our numbers growing. Can't wait to get out there in the community. Like Chris said, the Forge is excited to be doing their thing all summer. So that is that. And also, this is the last thing I'll say. Please, 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 if you're serious and you really want to talk football and you have real topics, shoot us a message so we can start getting some of you guys on the off season. We want to bring the people who support us onto our platform and give them the ability to talk Colts football. But we do have to keep it in a real football light, not just coming on here and shooting the shit and going crazy and saying wild stuff. So if you really, 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 really,
he just took the fun out of it.
Well, see, no, this is why I have to put those disclaimers out there, because you will get us in trouble.
Hey, so Wild West, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
Absolutely not. We will not have that. So anyway, like I said, if you're very serious about, want to have a topic or discussion, whether that's the draft or if there's some player that ends up coming here and you really want to talk about it, please shoot us a DM, a couple days ahead of the show so we can clear everything. And if it's good to go, we can get you on and we'll talk about whatever we want to talk about. So we try to do that in the off season and we want to be better about that. So again, thank you for tonight. Sammy, take us out, please.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Anvil Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.